Welcome once again to InRetroSpection, the show where we review the retro today. I am Joshua Caleb, and today joined back from his epic adventure on planet Zebes is Zach Williamson.
What happened? Where'd everybody go? Oh my God, there are people on my screen. Good Lord.
Yes, I think
Who let the internet out?
Everyone has video now, including our second guest, returning again, Curtis Boyle. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing good.
Well, today we are shifting our genre again from racing games to some more mind-bending games with possibly some of the earliest video games. I don't... How far does Tetris go back?
Not that far, actually. About 86, I'm thinking. Does that sound right?
I think you may be right. Wait for it. Wait for it.
It was done on the. It was originally done on the PC. I remember that in DOS.
It was released on June 6th, 1984.
84. Okay.
Yeah, this would be the puzzle game that spawned, pretty much spawned them all.
It's so pretty in all of its like sea foamish glory.
Yeah, almost monochromatic.
It's monochromatic, like bluish.
Yeah, and actually, if you see the original DOS version, it was actually done in a text mode, so it's basically just spaces with different colored backgrounds. That's how they drew the shapes.
Oh,
it was actually 40-column text mode, no graphics really at all.
That's right, it was. Oh.
I gotta find the video for that and splice that in the edit. I think all I have are the various console arcade-ish versions.
This is good. This guy is good. This looks like if I was playing.
Yeah, I'm not quite as good at the classic Tetris. Of just the clearing the lines, and I think the biggest thing that gets me is the block hangover. And you clear a line, and if there's a piece from another block that you cleared part of it, it just sort of hangs over that empty space.
Oh yeah.
That's what gets me most of the time.
This is also one of the few games that actually was a huge hit on the PC gaming side, and then became a big hit in the arcades too. Usually the other way around.
This is my first real exposure right here, the Game Boy version. Oh, I could play this for hours and hours. And let me tell you how many packs of 4 AA batteries I would go through just playing this thing constantly.
You didn't get rechargeables?
No, I didn't get rechargeables. The rechargeables, you got to remember, this was 20 years ago when the rechargeables were crap.
Oh right, yeah, that would have been like those old Radio Shack crappy ones that last like 20 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. So we'd have to go through like regular, alkalins.
I just had a power adapter.
Oh, see, I wasn't that lucky. But I ended up with 2 Game Boys at one point. I don't understand how that happened.
Plus, the Game Boy, isn't this is one of the ones where the big licensing controversy started to really hit too, didn't it?
Yeah,
there was just that whole thing of that one guy had arranged for organizing the rights from the guy in Russia that originally wrote it, but didn't quite get rights straightened away, and he ended up selling it twice to 2 different companies, like it was Atari and Nintendo, and they both tried to bring out versions at the same time, and there was a big legal battle, and it was a huge mess. I remember it was a controversy for quite a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Game Boy one was the one that really took off, wasn't it?
They still got
that legally stopped, I think, wasn't it? I think Atari's got. I think they tried to port it to one of the consoles. It might have been the Game Boy. I can't remember, but it actually got shut down in court, and they said you can't sell it because you really don't have the license to it, even though they paid for it and thought they did have it. There's a lot of dirty dealings going around the background, like the original programmer, because of the way communist Russia was at the time. He never got paid, even though they sold millions and millions of them. And it was just kind of a mess around.
Yeah, it was bad for a long time, and now actually, I think who owns the rights to it now? I think EA secured all the rights to it now, do they not?
I think they've got some of it, but I think some of them actually reverted back to the original program, and he's finally able to collect royalties on it, decades later.
You're right. I think EA only has mobile.
Yeah, because I have Tetris on my Android phone.
I have it on my Windows phone.
Yeah, and I have it on my iPod too.
Yeah, you can get this thing for just about every gaming platform known to man.
I think actually this is probably one of the most ported games, period. Like it's been in the arcades, it's been on all the home consoles, home computers, on, you know, as you mentioned, phones and, you know, little systems. It's been on minis and mainframes and all kinds of stuff, even in text mode. And
they've put it as sort of a geeky Easter egg. I think that it's been ported onto like those oscilloscopes. Is that what they're called? I think the army uses.
Oscilloscope, you mean?
Maybe it's those little, like, some sort of like little radar scope that the Marines, that they've ported onto those things. And
same as I believe the original Space War was done back in '62.
Yes, absolutely it was.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in the pre-show here, of course you could have got it on these old cartridges. Like this is one from a Tandy color computer.
Hang on. There we go.
So
it's even what language is that?
It's actually, though, the instructions are written in English. They just used a kind of a Soviet font, I guess you would call it here, to print it out.
Okay.
To look.
Yeah, well, that's why it looks weird. The way it says Teptike or something.
Yeah, well, they usually put the R backwards, and then they estimate some weird Soviet symbol. I don't read Russian, so I can't tell you.
In Soviet Russia, Tetris plays you.
Exactly.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. It's the only game that we actually get to make that joke with.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't think of another Russian game that hit it big. And this is actually one of the biggest games in the world, if not the biggest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The platforms in a consideration.
Yeah,
I mean, this would have outsold Space Invaders and their clones and Pac-Man and all that. It's huge. It's a phenomenon.
You know, and I know we were talking, you know, it seems like centuries ago in the Betasode about Pong and all the different Pong clones and how Pong itself was actually a clone. But,
yeah,
you know, you look at Tetris, though, look at all the different versions of Tetris that exist. And they're not even clones. They're all licensed, for God's sake.
Yeah, I don't think Tetris really has any clones.
Yeah, Tetris.
I know of some, but I mean, it was just basically for home computer systems. So people, it was not too hard of a game to program, so they would just whip one up and put it out, shareware or whatever.
Yeah, but as far as like officially released games, because I think all the rest of our games on here, only one of them I think is, well, one of them is a variant of Tetris because there's about 1,000 different of those. But I think only one other game on our list is really a Tetris clone. And even that has a funky twist on it, which we'll get to later. But yeah, otherwise they're all pretty much just licensed versions and variants of Tetris.
This was such a weird version of the game.
Oh,
yeah,
Mario.
Like that Tetris Elements I showed you the box for earlier. I don't know if you guys want to see that again or not. But...
Oh yeah.
That was one of the derivatives that was actually officially part of the line.
Yeah, I think I had that one. I had Tetris Worlds, which I think I still have that now. It's probably my favorite because it has the 4-player battle, and there's a couple of modes in there that are sort of unique, like sort of a sticky mode where all the blocks are segmented and light colors will stick to each other, forming little blops. That you have to try and clear. And of course, I like the cascade because I always get stuck with that block hangover when you clear lines.
Oh yeah.
So I like the cascade feature of letting the blocks segment and fall through.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you can pull off some pretty cool combos with that.
You could, because as they fell, they would fall just perfectly into place.
Yep.
I just want to verify too. Block hangover is when you've been drinking with your buddies all Friday night playing head-to-head Tetris, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I've seen some of that in my day. We got hardcore where I'm from. Of course, I'm from a small town, so we didn't have much else. But we had Tetris. Damn it, we had it and we loved it.
Yeah, I think everybody had Tetris.
Yeah.
Well, on to our next game, which I don't think everyone had because I rarely even saw this one. This one I think started as an arcade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It did. Now
Atari.
you're very familiar with this, right, Curtis?
Somewhat, yep. I haven't
Okay.
played it in a while, but I used to play quite a bit on the old TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah, I played it in arcades a little bit. They a couple old ones lying around. And it's a very interesting game. I didn't get into it much because there were other arcade games that I liked better. But it's a very interesting. And
Yeah, because you got to match your colors. You got to get so many in a
yeah,
row.
it's going to the color thing, which that's the match 3 color is actually pretty much what every other game on our list is based off of.
Yeah, and you
is
get more
the-
points. Like you get 4 colors or 5
Yeah,
colors.
4
there's some wild
colors.
card ones. The nice thing is always you're building the colors yourself because you actually have to grab them on your little platform that's moving back and forth. You can hold up to 4 or 5 deep at a time. And then
Yeah,
if you hold too many, it just collapses and you lose type thing, and then it falls into the pit.
yeah, and you can only have so many go past your little paddle.
Yeah,
Isn't
you,
there?
you lose too many that you didn't catch at all.
Yeah,
And then of course you can speed up the ramp too, which you can use in the earlier levels if you're getting quite good at it and you get bored waiting for it. You can
hmm
actually tell it to just whip these at me really quick here so I can get going type thing. But then later on it gets going really fast on its own and a lot more dense. How many are coming down at the same time, and they start adding more colors so it's more complicated to try to
Oh
get your
yeah,
matches and stuff. Yeah, it gets to be quite intense.
this one actually was this one ported to any consoles?
Oh yeah,
Okay, I don't remember seeing it.
yeah. TurboGrafx
That's-
is one.
Okay, yeah, the TurboGrafx you mentioned.
That's because nobody actually, played it. Now it was ported to quite a few.
Okay,
And it's
okay, the Atari
The
2600.
Nintendo, Sega, Master System, the Genesis, the PlayStation 2 is part of a treasury, and various computers as well, a Commodore 64, Spectrum,
Oh,
Amiga.
okay.
etc. It was
the
pretty fun.
Commodore 64.
Xbox 360 and Guitar Hero.
Yeah, that would have surprised me. I haven't seen that one, so that's a new one on me.
Okay, so
I also like the speech and stuff they have in here because she makes comments and gives you praise and stuff like that. It kind of makes it feel like you're playing, like a TV video game type thing.
yeah, you get the applause when you do a good Klax wave or whatever it is they call it.
Yeah, and if you were playing it in the actual arcade and when it first came out, it was actually fairly popular, and you get a crowd kind of wandering around the machine, especially if you're doing really well on it. It kind of feels like if you're part of the studio audience type thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
I never had that. I sucked at it, but
Yeah, I wasn't very good at it either. All right.
my roommate James West was quite good at it.
Next one, which I'm pretty good at. I've played a lot of it. My mom loves this game.
Oh man,
Dr. Mario.
this is the game that introduced me to drugs on a serious level. Again, this is one of those that I didn't discover on the original NES, but when they brought it to the Game Boy, I played a lot of it.
Yeah, this sort of takes Tetris and combines it with the match 3 of Klax, and you get sort of this weird hybrid.
I
So it's
love
kind of like
it.
the Columns game too, then, right? Wasn't it similar?
Yeah, kind of like columns, except you have two. The pills are only 2 blocks long.
Yeah, and you actually rotate them, whereas I think, if I remember Columns, you just flip the colors through.
Yeah,
the sequence of
columns, which I think that's a little further. Yeah, but columns you'll just rotate the color sequence. This you actually rotate the block or the pill lengthwise.
which is more similar to Tetris, where you do the same.
Yeah, and
Right.
instead of having to just clear the screen of all the blocks that are coming down to you, you actually have to clear the little viruses that populate the little bottle or beaker.
Bastards.
Yeah. So there's a little more
I see
of
you
a,
remember it well.
Oh my God. I remember. I think the tagline was something like, A prescription for fun or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you had a little more objective with this one.
Here it is. For the original NES, on the box art, Dr. Mario is coming and he's got the cure.
Oh yeah, he's trying to find a cure for the common cold.
That sounds like something you hear at wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, this is the version I remember.
Yeah, I think this is the one I had.
And like, it's funny because, you know, in the original you had the red, yellow, and blue, and this one you had the white, gray, and black because it was on monochrome screen. I love this.
Uh-huh.
Now, with the more limited colors, did you find it easier or harder than the full color version? Like, was the full color more distracting, or was it more distracting with the grays?
Honestly, I think it was more distracting with the full color. I honestly preferred it this way, but I was used to this because, you know, again, this is what I was raised on originally, and it's just kind of, you know, the norm to me.
Well, in this one also, I don't think it was true in the color version, but this one, each of the little viruses actually look different and have a little different animation.
They do, you're right. And in the original, they all were similar.
Yeah, it was just the colors differentiating them. This one, they actually have
they have slightly different properties.
Yeah, very sprite. Oh well, no, this would get.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Yeah, the colors are actually distracting.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. You know, you play with the monochrome version and you're just kind of used to it. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, however, I don't think I'd want to plug it into a black and white TV because I think they'd all just run together with the same damn color.
Yeah, they would. They would. I've been there. Well, I guess it depends on the TV, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one would probably be a case in which the old Game Boy one is probably better than all the new ports and re-releases.
Hey man, when you have a good formula, don't mess with it.
Yep. All right. Next up, on one that doesn't even really, well, it sort of stars Mario, but he's sort of the secondary character.
This was great.
Yoshi got another one of his own games. And this is another one of the few that didn't go by the match 3. Well, no, it sort of did. Now that I'm watching this, I remember it sort of went by a match 3. Oh, and even had a little storyboard like Pac-Man.
Oh, the little acts in between?
Yeah. I don't remember that.
I loved this game. This game was so much fun, man.
Yeah, it had an interesting twist because it's not actually match 3; it's match 2.
And it's not just match 2. You actually have to try to sandwich in.
Yeah, because as you're swapping all your little stacks around, occasionally you would have a Yoshi or a half of a Yoshi egg come down. And if you got the bottom half down and then you put a whole bunch of little creatures in it, and then you managed to get the top half of a Yoshi egg down, it would go down, sandwiches all in between. And didn't like a Yoshi pop out or something? You get bonus points depending on how many you sandwiched?
Yeah, what you could do is you could sandwich between 1 and 6, I think. No, 1 and 5 in between. And depending on how many you got, like if you did 1, it was just like a baby Yoshi. And if you did all 5, then it was like this huge giant one. It was great. I can't make that noise again, so don't ask.
Yeah, it sounded like that hurt.
Yeah, it a little. It hurt my soul. See, look. Wow, this guy's nuts. The one on the NES here.
Oh yeah, speeding up the blocks.
Good lord.
That's actually one of the interesting things that most of the Tetris and puzzles type games of that genre had in common, where you could actually speed the game up in the earlier levels if you got bored, or just to get the thing going quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually was a really smart thing to do, because for beginners you'd want it to go slow, obviously, so they could figure out what the heck they're doing. But if somebody wanted to get going and get up to those higher levels, they didn't have to sit there and plod through it all like a lot of arcade games did.
Yeah. All right. Next we're going sort of back to an arcade game. That's going back to a match 3 style, similar to Dr. Mario. We have Puyo-Pop or Puyo or I don't know, whatever the heck it's called. I think it had many names, and they're all Japanese.
Yeah, just like the rest of the game.
Now, was this game actually released in the States then, or was it only officially out in Japan?
It depends on which version you're talking about. Because I think the original was only in Japan. We eventually got it, but we got it in different forms.
Yeah, we got it in a lot of different forms.
Yeah, we got Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Oh, the Mean Bean Machine.
Yes, which is basically everything you see. It was
just
identical.
With Sonic characters.
Yeah, just with Robotnik robots and stuff. Everything else was identical.
Oh, I loved the Mean Bean Machine was one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, and then there was a Kirby clone. I think Kirby had his own, which is the same thing again, just with Kirby characters. And I think we eventually, like recently or something, got some more of the Japanese anime style Puyo-Pop games. But for a while, I think we just got the licensed variants. But yeah, this is basically like Dr. Mario, but without the viruses.
Yeah.
Because you just rotate.
There was even a Tetris variant that was similar to this too.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, and this one you could actually match the colors sideways.
Oh yeah, that's
as well
right.
As up and down. You could match them up and around and whatever, and they would stick to each other.
Merrick the Warehog in the chat room says Tetris Attack, and I think
we have that one, because I think it also went by Tetris 2, which we have in our lineup.
Tetris Attack, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it, thank you.
Once again, that chat room comes through.
Yep, of course.
The chat room is awesome.
That's why we have to have a live show, so you can have the chat room. They're like all-knowing, always omniscient, omnipresent.
Yep, that's correct. Our silly mistakes.
Yep.
Or maybe those are just mine. I'm not sure.
No, I think even the great Leo has had to be rescued by the chat room.
Oh wow, looking back at Tetris Attack, it says, despite using the Tetris name, obviously the game bears almost no resemblance to its Russian namesake. This has led Hank Rogers of the Tetris Company to remark that he regrets granting permission to Nintendo to use the name.
Also, there's another one of the Nintendo and lawsuits and stuff that were going back and forth for Tetris.
Oh god, yeah.
That was such a mess in I guess it was the late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s even.
Yeah, I think it kept going. I think some of those things didn't get resolved to the mid 90s, just about.
Yeah.
It was a long going court case, and it was in multiple countries across the ocean and here in Europe and Asia.
All kinds of international trade law.
Yep.
Well, those court cases, especially overseas, always drag on for ages.
I think they drag on anywhere. That's just having lawyers.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
We'll blame IAS.
Yeah.
Oh, be nice to Ayaz. I still owe him a favor.
All right, should we move on to another puzzle game starring Yoshi?
Oh, yes. I love this game.
He apparently was popular among the puzzle crowd.
Hold on, give me a second. I might be able to pull off my Yoshi sound. Wait, let me try it here real quick. Alright, here we go.
Yoshi!
Oh, that was
That's
actually
my
pretty
Yoshi.
good.
That's my Yoshi voice.
Wow, I didn't know you did impressions.
I do quite a few, in fact.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to do a few impressions.
Trades, master of none.
So now this was a very odd game.
It was an odd game. It fell from both directions. That was the weird thing about it.
Yeah, and you match two, and you have to slide the little cookie lines either up, down, left, or right, kind of like Chuzzle, that PopCap game. It's probably the precursor to Chuzzle. But you slide them and you try to match them all up, which I think you at least have to have two.
Man, what a strange game.
Yeah, that adding that horizontal slide in there, it actually changes the gameplay quite drastically.
It does, and it really messes with your head the first few times you play it because you're not used to it. You're used to like Tetris style where everything comes from the top.
Yeah, so you're just concentrating the ones on the top. You're not even paying much attention to the ones on the sides. And oh crap!
Uh-huh.
Oh, apparently we're starting to talk about my impressions in the chat room now. Kirsten is mentioning my Chewbacca, which I've actually mastered a second way now. I haven't really done it with anyone, but I can do it two different ways now.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Star Wars retro game.
Oh God,
podcast.
That'll be awesome. Oh, X-Wing and TIE Fighter. Oh God, yes, I can smell it already.
Or even the original color vector one from the arcade.
Oh yes. And then we have to throw in that horrific pod racer game from the arcade too.
Yep.
The one that that no one gets past the first level.
Anything involving the first Star Wars prequel seems to go badly.
There were no prequels.
Oh yeah, that's right.
These aren't the movies you're looking for.
That's right. I forgot you slipped into that alternate dimension.
That's right, I did.
And you
My
kind of
God,
brought
that was
the rest
amazing.
Yeah, you
for
brought
like,
the rest of
for
us
like
with
3
you.
days, there were only 3 Star Wars movies and no third Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
That's the good alternate universe.
It was the best alternate universe ever.
See if you can find that one again.
Oh God, if I find it, I will let you guys know where to go.
All right, well, shall we go to the aforementioned Tetris Attack, or Tetris 2? But yeah, this one was very, very much like Dr. Mario. Right, you had your little... that they weren't even creative enough to put anything other than knobs on them, but you had your special blocks you had to clear.
Yeah, Tetris 2 was one of the few that they didn't actually really... This was a bad clone is what it was. This was actually done in-house that Nintendo did. nobody liked it. It was well, I mean, look at it. First of all, it's an eyesore. Second of all, look how messed up that thing is. That's
Like even the shapes of the block-like things are just messy to look at. Bad colors, and
Yeah,
it's not
I
very
used to
visually pleasing. That's for sure.
yeah, we used to have it on the Nintendo, and I remember we had a lot of fun with it because I don't think we had Dr. Mario because it had the two-player mode, which was sort of fun. But yeah, it's basically sort of a bad version of Dr. Mario.
Yeah, and even having the Nazca lines in the background there doesn't really help it that much.
no. You know what this looks like? It looks like. Did you guys ever play with the Super Game Boy where you could plug your Game Boy cartridges into your SNES?
Yes, I
Remember it had the horrible backgrounds?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I ever actually had one, but I know I played one. But yeah, I remember those.
This looks exactly like that with the bad backgrounds.
They even did that with the Game Boy Player for the GameCube.
Did they really? I never played it because I was afraid they were going to do that same thing.
Yep, I think they did. There might have
You
been
were right.
there might have been
Apparently so.
I think you could turn them off. I think, or at least maybe just put a GameCube background where it looks like you're looking at the top of a GameCube. But yeah, it had the same backgrounds.
Awesome. Apparently I had the foresight not to make that mistake twice in my life.
Oh,
Learned
good
the
for
first
you.
time.
Other than the first time.
Though the one thing that is interesting about the Tetris 2 that was a nice improvement over Dr. Mario were the master blocks or core blocks, the little blinking.
Oh yeah, where
blocks
if
at
you
the
killed
bottom.
one of those, you killed all of them on the board.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
added a nice strategic element to it.
I'm trying to remember, did Columns have that too? At least one of its clones did. I remember that.
I don't
Yeah,
think
one of the clones
Columns-
did, but I don't remember which
Just
one.
kind of those wild card blocks, and then if whatever color it
Oh yeah,
matched,
they might
you
have
just
had
take
wild
it out.
card ones. I think several of those puzzle games did have the wild card ones, but it wasn't actually a part of the level. But yeah, if you could go down and sort of move the piece and destroy that core block, then it'd get rid of all the other blocks and made the game a lot easier.
Yeah, this is horrible. God, let's just keep going before I vomit.
Okay, we'll go on to
An even worse game.
Yeah, and if you did vomit, it'd match the colors on that game now. So
That's true.
it actually
it'd be
would.
themed anyway.
All right, this is a very strange Tetris
God.
clone. One of the few actual Tetris clones. That is very, very odd.
So they took two of the biggest franchises in the world and tried to combine them.
Basically, yep.
Hey, have you guys ever noticed anytime they tried to do anything with Pac-Man aside from the original game style that it completely destroyed it? Like, I don't know, the animated series and the different game types and
Pac-Mania.
everything ever.
Pac-Mania, Pac-Man
Oh,
Adventure,
Pac-Land.
Pac-Man Adventure 2, 3. How many of those did they make? Yeah, but this is weird. You have these vaguely Tetris-like blocks combined with these ghosts that you place on your board. And eventually you will get a Pac-Man block that when you place him, he will automatically start eating,
Just eating
in
everything
whatever direction
inside.
he's going, and just start eating his way down, clearing all the
Apparently,
ghosts.
Pac-Man is an idiot and doesn't know how to travel in multiple directions.
No, just whatever direction he's facing, he'll go that direction until he hits something.
Yeah, I have to say this is the strangest one I've seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Strangest mashup.
Yeah, the puzzle mode was interesting, but when you go to the regular arcade mode, when you just have random blocks falling with random ghosts, that's when it becomes really weird.
Now, ironically, I do remember a Pac Attack game from way years earlier than this, but it was one of the home computer clones of Pac-Man. There was quite a few unsanctioned clones. I mean, they would use game names like Pac Attack and Pac Dude and whatever else. So,
Pac Dude, yeah, I think I actually remember that one.
I think I'll stick to my Pac-Man arrangement. That was actually sort of a nifty game. Alright. Our next to last game.
Oh, based on one of my favorite arcade games of all time,
Pong?
Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, Bust-a-Move or Puzzle Bobble or Bubble Pop or this is another one that goes by many names.
Oh, they're so cute. Look at them. They're so cute with their little dragony spiny thingies, and they're bouncy and cute and colorful and stuff. And they're cute.
It's like if Kirby was a dinosaur.
Oh my god, I know. I never thought about it that way. That's true. And look, there's even laws of physics involved here. There's lines. It's like, wow, this is great. I loved Bust-a-Move.
Yeah, this is another one that I think my mom really liked, and we played a lot of it with a 2-player mode, and it was pretty fun, especially when you get to bouncing those balls around if you could aim them that way.
And as you mentioned, there's tons and tons of clones. Like I've got, I think it's Bubble Bash on my iPhone. That's a direct clone of this.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple Android ones, and
what I'm trying to figure out is the little green characters there. Are those direct descendants of the one from Dig Dug?
You know, I never thought about that.
They sort of look like it, but I think it's different companies.
Because Dig Dug was a Namco game.
Yeah, and this is Taito or Taito.
It was Taito.
Potato.
Yeah. Let's see, Bubble Bobble. Twin Bubble Dragons, Bub and Bob.
Was this one actually in arcades? And
oh yeah, yeah. I've played this. I've logged many an hour in the arcade.
I think even there were some clones in the arcades too. I remember.
Yeah, there were clones in the arcade. Let's see here.
Oh wow, yeah, this is one that's been ported just about everything imaginable.
Yeah. Let's see. This was actually one of the. This was a very, very Puzzle Bobble. Here we go.
And this is probably one of the first
list of platforms.
Was this one of the first puzzle games implementing physics, or at least focusing a lot on physics?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because you'd bounce a little. Well, it kind of.
Because if you cleared all the bubbles over that bubbles were attached to,
then they would all fall.
Yeah, so like a stalactite thing. If you broke the top of it, they'd all fall down.
Right.
And then you could, if you were really good, you could bounce it off the walls to try and get in those little hard to reach areas.
Yeah.
Toward the top.
And the fact that if you could ricochet a shot off and destroy something near the top, then everything below it falls down.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
Yeah, and then I think that was in the puzzle mode. That was sort of the idea. I think there was a version for the GameCube that I think I played, because there was the 2-player mode, of course. And I don't remember if the older ones had this, but some of the newer versions of this, when you play the 2-player mode, obviously when you make a good move, it would throw garbage bubbles up into your opponent's screen, to give them more bubbles to clear. And I think the newer versions, like every time you cleared a bubble, it would throw bubbles up on your opponent's screen. So basically the first person to get their thumb on the button to start throwing bubbles up would win, because it would just start trashing the other player.
It was a game of button mashing at that point.
Yeah, I don't remember that on the old ones though.
No, the old ones, they didn't introduce that until later.
Yeah. And another case where retro wins.
Man, now I want to play Bubble Bobble.
Well, you can get it on the Wii, the Xbox 360.
They've got it everywhere. They've got like a new version of it now. Like, you know how they've been remaking arcade classics?
Yeah. I think you can even get the original on the Virtual Console or maybe even the Xbox Live Arcade. Alright, well I think if we can move away from this one, I think that brings us to our final game. Going back to the Granddaddy Tetris.
You know, might be one of the most effed up games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Tetrisphere, despite having Tetris partially in the name, virtually has nothing to do with Tetris.
It is awful.
Ironically, it has everything to do with balls.
It does have everything to do with balls. There are balls everywhere in this game. Ugh.
Which is really ironic, considering Tetris is about blocks. Oh
It's
yeah,
not
and I
balls
think
to say that, you know.
It's true.
oh yes, and we even have a story mode. All the little balls are going to play hide and seek and hiding themselves inside bigger balls, and we have to go dig them out. Yeah, I finally got around to trying to playing this thing, and I was finally able to figure it out, but I don't think I could actually explain it.
There's no way to explain this game. This game has no discernible rules, logic, or anything. All you have to do is try to show the inside of the sphere. You have to make like the core of the sphere shine through, and then
Well,
that's
yeah,
it.
and pretty much when I was playing it, you could pretty much, because you could only make like 3 mistakes, and it seemed like it mixed in some match 3 component where you had to match 3 of the same block, somehow touching via some abstract way to clear a little select section of them. But basically, the way I played it is I would just move my piece around until it highlighted and said you can place this here and make a match, and
Yeah,
that was
that's
pretty much what I
how
did.
everybody did it.
So there really was no thought to it. It was just move your cursor until it highlights to say you can place a block there, and then you place a block there. And
Now, was this an arcade game or was this a console only game?
This was console only. This
Yeah.
was on the Super NES.
no, the Nintendo 64.
I'm sorry, this was on the Nintendo 64. My mistake. I'm sorry. I have it upstairs in a box hiding away.
So no rules, no logic. This would be the perfect game to train politicians on.
Oh, absolutely. Politicians can master this game in no time flat. Unfortunately for gamers, it is fail.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
where's Jason and the sad trombone when we need him?
See, now this is bizarre. This may be a case for our true InRetroSpection not being quite as good as originally thought. The reception for this game was actually quite high.
Jason Howell, if you can hear me, please make it go away.
Nintendo,
I mean, I guess I have to give him a couple of points for trying something obviously so completely and utterly different from anything before. But
It's
if it doesn't
different.
play well, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
This is a case though where you know obviously different is not always good.
No.
Especially when you basically have no rules, or the rules are
Exactly.
completely arbitrary.
And see, yeah. This is
Yeah,
Oh.
this would have to get our dreaded lame leftover.
ugh, absolutely. I saw that.
I did not realize that was in there.
That's awesome. I think it's apropos.
Yeah, I think it was just a rating for the game, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was an official rating.
That's the new rating.
Yeah, no kidding.
Previously, the thing was like 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, and everyone loved the game.
Get this thing away from me before I have nightmares about it. I'm gonna
Okay.
wake up in the morning and everything's gonna be in spheres, and I have to like throw
And glowing.
Legos at them to get to them. I'm gonna start throwing Legos at spheres. I'm gonna glue
Okay.
Legos to dodgeballs and see what happens.
Well, I think that about does it for today's show, which is actually, I think we actually went kind of short. Didn't have as many games this time.
Well, I think it offsets the time.
Yeah,
I
since
think
we
it
got
also had to do
started
the fact
late.
that these games were very close to each other. In how do you keep re-explaining? You got to match the same color
Yeah.
block
Oh,
together.
there is one more game I completely forgot that we were actually talking about. That would be Columns,
Yes.
Columns.
which
Oh,
goes back to the match 3 thing again. Only a
This was definitely in the arcades. I used to play this one.
see, this is another one of those like Tetris Attack sort of deals.
And this is one where you don't rotate the actual shape; you just rotate the colors through.
yeah, you just slide, kind of like the Yoshi cookie thing, where you just slide them up and down to cycle where each gem is.
And you can tell that these people actually know how to choose colors that don't try to make you puke.
That's true too.
Well, yeah, because they make them look like gems.
Oh my God! It's the precursor to Bejeweled. Good
Yeah.
Lord!
We have found the origin of Bejeweled.
Oh, destroy it, someone, please! Kill it! Kill it!
I think it may be a little too late for that.
I think my male intuition is kicking in here, and I don't think Zach likes Jewel.
It doesn't seem like
Hold
it.
on, let me find my magic 8-ball. So, do I like Bejeweled? Shake, 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 shake. Oh, it says not frickin' likely. Oh, well, that sucks. I was gonna give it a shot.
Well, I don't know if there's a whole lot more you can say about this, other than it's another match 3 game.
Yeah, with 1 or 2 players at once, which we've seen before in some of the other ones as well. So.
Mm-hmm.
And also, once again, ported all over the place, cloned.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think this was more of a Sega title, though, at least from what I saw. Most of the consoles I've seen it on, at least, have been Sega ones.
This looks like the loneliest game of Columns ever. It's like the 2-player side is just like, come on, player 2, press a button.
It's only a quarter. Come on.
Yeah, I remember in some of those arcades, on the multiplayer ones, someone would be playing, you always have that blinking light.
It was horrible.
Alright, well, I think that wraps us up for today.
Now that we've broken Zach.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Too many lame leftovers tend to give you indigestion.
Got it. You know, it reminds me of the last episode that I was on. The last one I was on was the Metroid episode. We ended with Other M.
We gotta stop doing that.
We need to do
Yeah,
something.
or otherwise, he might not come back for another 3 or 4 weeks. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
I might.
Gotta
The
recover from
next
this
one
one.
might kill me.
Well, I'll just have to dangle the Mortal Kombat exclusive episode in front of him. That should get him back.
So Joshua, do we have a plan for what next week's episode?
I think I've been working on next week. We're gonna do the first part in our Sonic 2-parter episode, which the first part should be a good one because we're doing all the old Sonic games, all the classic ones.
Sonic Boom.
Yes. The one
great.
after that may be not so much.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend here in most of these games that if they could just do too many sequels, they start just to get worse and worse.
Yeah. Can only run a franchise so long.
Yeah, it's pretty rare you can get a franchise where the sequels actually get to be better and better than the originals. There's a few, but
Yeah, and even Mario, I would argue that the newer sequels aren't as good.
I don't know. I got a special place in my heart for New Super Mario Brothers Wii, even though it's
Yeah,
got like
the
a
new
17,000 word title.
Yeah, the new Super Mario Brothers was good. The 3D ones I didn't care for as much. They were interesting and very, very unique, but
Oh, that reminds me. You know what we are overdue for? We, as a gamer nation, are overdue for another Paper Mario.
Yeah, well, there was the one. There was the one for the Wii. That was more of a
Yeah, but
platformer.
yeah, but look, we've got that one, but we've already had two Super Mario Galaxies. I think it's time we get another Paper Mario.
Yeah,
That was the 2D, 3D flip one, wasn't it? If I remember.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
haven't
played the
in a while,
GameCube
but
version. It was pretty good.
the GameCube version was phenomenal. What, Thousand Year Door?
Yeah,
Oh, I would loved it. Had a phenomenal story. It was great, great game. Absolutely phenomenal.
yeah. And the thing went on forever.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it did.
So it reminds me of Portal. You think you're about done, and then they throw something else in, and you keep going.
It's because Gladys is evil, and Portal 2, she's worse. Speaking of puzzle games,
Hmm.
Portal 2, you play Portal 1 and Gladys is evil. She's trying to kill you. Then you play Portal 2 and Gladys is evil and sadistic and cruel, and I love it. I don't know why. I'm sadistic. I'm masochistic.
did you guys catch Scott Johnson's cartoon on Portal here, the last one?
No,
Hold
actually, I
on.
didn't.
It's good. You got to check it out.
Oh, I gotta see.
I think
I
it's a
gotta
Extra Life
subscribe to
strip.
those. All right. Well, anyway, anything you guys want to plug before we leave?
Oh,
I think we just
that's
lost Zach.
funny.
Isn't that good?
That's good. You guys have got to check this out. Go to myextralife.com. It's not the current one, it's the previous comic. It's a very, very funny Portal joke.
I laughed out loud when I saw that one.
That's hysterical.
Does it contain spoilers?
No
no,
spoilers
no.
whatsoever. Just
It's
very, very punny. Ooh,
it's
speaking of
based on the-
portals,
It's based on the theme. Yeah, it's based on the theme that makes it so funny.
Yeah, I don't remember if I saw that one.
look at my portals. I'm so proud of them. I have to actually hang them in my bedroom. They're still sitting
Nice.
just downstairs against the speakers, but I like them. I think they turned out nice.
Yeah, I actually have I'm wearing right now. It's not exactly retro, but I have a Portal shirt. That
I
one-
need to get an Aperture Science polo so I can wear to work, so people can ask me what it is, and then I can just look at them.
Yeah, mine is a Woot version. It's that cheese is a Lightercrons one.
Anyway, for anybody who's in the chat room there, I just posted the link to the comic strip. So
That's phenomenal.
I like the title of it too, Portal Potty.
Portal potty. Other uses, portal potty.
Nice.
Actually, that little guy, that kind of looks like Scott.
Yeah, it does.
I
he'd
think
be
Scott
smiling
Johnson is-
more.
I think he's holding out on us. I think he's got portal potties and he's not telling us. He's teasing us, the bastard.
Yeah. All right, so you guys have anywhere people can follow you or find you online?
I'll let Zach
Well,
go first.
Yeah, I'm always on Twitter. I'm Z_Williamson. Of course, you people all know that already. Why am I telling you? Go away. Get off my lawn. Damn kids and your games.
Yeah, newfangled fancy 3D.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
Yeah, how about you, Curtis? Have you gotten that short URL for your?
No, not yet. It's still
Okay.
the really long one, so I won't read the whole thing out. But I'll post it in the chat room in case anybody's really bored. I mean, is interested.
If you're looking for somebody with time on their hands, I could be that guy for you, Curtis.
Yeah, I need more time on my hands. Maybe do another podcast.
I think I'd have more time in my hands if I wasn't so busy sitting on them all the time.
You know, I haven't tried that.
Is that what you guys do in Canada? I always wondered about that. Now I know. Now I know. You just sit on
It
your
has
hands.
something to do with that strong Canadian beer, I think.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, if you want to find this podcast, you can subscribe to it in iTunes or directly on my blog. You can find it at retrogamesforever.com. And you can also, I've been doing my retro a day, or lately it's been like retro every other day. But I've been going through and reviewing one retro game each day and writing a little post about it. And you can follow me on Twitter at JoshuaCaleb75. And I'm pretty much, find me anywhere else at JoshuaCaleb75. Sometimes, though, I knock off the 75 when I get the username. But I think that about does it for today's show. And we will see you all next week in the past.